So, you gonna tell me what you're doing in my garage? Or am I gonna have to evict you too?
Mr. Levy, I was just about to...
Save it. What were you doing in there? Did you find what you were looking for, did you?
Actually, I was looking for you. As soon as I realized you were at home, I came straight out to find you. You can rest assured.
What is it you want, Mr. Conway?
I wanted to talk with you about Charlotte May's disappearance.
Really?
If you're not too troubled to help.
Why the hell would I waste my time talking to you?
Will you answer some of my questions or not?
So it's an interrogation, then?
It's me asking you to help Tony Morgan find his missing daughter. Surely you want to help.
Fine. I'll humor you. What do you want?
A statement is all. Where you were the night that Charlotte May was taken. What you were doing, with whom you spoke. That kind of thing.
A statement, you say? Where do you want me to begin?
Tell me, if you would, what you did between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. just before Charlotte May was taken.
Well, I was in my flat for most of the night, except for about 10 o'clock. I went across to the courtyard and locked up the front gate. And, you know, to keep the wrong kind of person out. Sometime after that, I heard a noise. Sounded like something strange, but I didn't know what. I guess we all know now, but didn't think much of it at the time.
You're sure you heard a noise at 10 p.m., no later?
Little later, maybe. I was up in my flat by then.
How much later?
Couldn't say.
And what do you think the noise was?
Well, we know what it was, Mr. Conway. A little girl screaming.
You actually heard her scream?
Maybe. Why? Are you trying to catch me out?
I'm trying to understand what you're telling me. I myself did not hear her, and neither did the McKees.
What's your point?
Well, either you heard her and did nothing, or you're mistaken.
Well, maybe I'm thinking of something else then.
You were saying?
Anyway, after about 10 or something, I went up to my flat and made a cup of tea and a sandwich. Corned beef and onion, if I remember. Then about 10:15, I ate it. I hope this is the kind of information you were looking for. I was alone all night, so didn't do anything riveting, I'm sorry to say.
You were alone all night, so no one can back up your story.
No, guess not.
Do you ever have guests, Mr. Levy?
No, not really.
Never.
Where are you going with this?
Well, there's a key on the plant pot outside your door. You must have put it there for someone.
And how did you find that out?
Well, you can see it from the outside. It's plain as day.
I said I was alone that night. You don't believe me?
I'm merely trying to make sense of it all.
Seems simple enough to me, Mr. Conway. Shall I continue, or was there more?
Please.
Anyway, around about 10:30, I was sat upstairs listening to my radio show, Kings in the Nile. But I had no idea what was going on outside, right under everyone's noses. Scary, ain't it? How you could be stood right next to someone capable of that. And you'd never know until it was too late.
In which room were you sat?
In my kitchen, I think. Why?
Your radio is in your bedroom, is it not?
Yeah. How do you know that?
So, you are listening to a radio show playing in a different room?
You didn't answer me. How do you know where my radio is?
I heard it playing from your window across the courtyard a few days ago. I have a good memory, is all. So you are in your kitchen and your bedroom?
What does it matter?
Well, if you can't remember which room you were in, then how can I take the rest of your statement seriously?
You can take it however you want.
I'll just write that you're unsure.
Yeah, you do that. I wish there was more I could tell you. I really do. Must have been about 10:40 to 10:50. I nodded off for a bit, because my mind's a little fuzzy on the details. The newspaper said something about the kidnapper having a key or sneaking in undetected. I think it's a load of old bollocks. And in any case, if I ever did see someone sneaking around here, they wouldn't be walking out, I can tell you. No offense.
I'm curious, how could the kidnapper have come to be in the possession of a key?
Now, I've been thinking about that, and there's a lot of ways someone could have got around it, if they were so inclined.
Please, elaborate.
They could have stolen a key. Maybe they did it before and then locked the gate. Maybe they got a key copied weeks ago and then returned the original.
You have put a lot of thought into that, haven't you?
I've known some types in my time. You'd be amazed how resourceful some folk can be.
Resourceful, deceitful. It's a fine line to tread.
No disagreement there.
Right. Well, please, continue.
Regardless of all that, I'll tell you what I did here that night. The smash. About 11, I'd say. That little girl must have kicked up a right old fuss. God knows how we didn't hear. That's when I turned on my floodlight. I looked out my window. I saw Mr. Morgan. Right there, laying in a puddle of his own blood. It's a wonder he didn't bleed out. I must have just missed who did it. I tell you, that blood ain't coming out my clothes anytime soon.
You say the blood was on your clothing?
That's right.
What clothing are you referring to?
The shirt I was wearing that night.
And why, might I ask, did you have Mr. Morgan's blood on your shirt?
Well, who do you think had to clean it up? Sure as hell wasn't you long.
Well, I thought the police might have done that.
Yeah, well, you thought wrong, didn't you?
I'm sorry you had to deal with that.
It's my job, Mr. Conway.
Yeah, of course it is. As you were.
Well, other than that, I don't know what more I can say. We all get what's coming to us, don't we? Anyhow, what if it was me? What are you going to do about it?
Well, for a start, I would have...
Maybe I did do it. Hell, maybe you did it. You could be wasting time questioning me to cover your own back. That would be a funny old turn, wouldn't it?
I have to say, Mr. Levy, we've not spoken this much before, and I find you strangely heartless considering the circumstances. I'd imagined you'd feel a little more sympathy for your neighbor and his missing daughter. You say you had nothing to do with it, but I can't help but think...
Go on.
I think you're hiding something. Something to do with Charlotte May. When this is all said and done, Mr. Morgan will know who helped and who stood in the way of my investigation. I hope to God you had nothing to do with it.
Listen to me. You think you got problems now being in that chair. You keep this kind of thing up, you're gonna end up hurt. Or worse.
Is that a threat, Mr. Levy?
A warning's what it is.
Well, consider me warned.
It's late, Mr. Conway. Piss off.
During our conversation, Harold Levy was imposing, attempting to intimidate me. It's clear the man does not like me, and the feeling is mutual. I'm certain he's up to no good, and I suspect it has something to do with Charlotte May. The chemicals I found appear to match the crime scene, no question there. There are, however, some things that still remain unanswered. A threatening note in Harold Levy's flat seemed to provoke his attack on Tony Morgan. Is this related to Charlotte May? The note accused Harold of illegal activities, but what evidence here proves it? Harold said he was listening to Kings of the Nile in his flat at 10:50, whilst Charlotte May was being taken. But can I disprove his alibi? I need to look at every piece of evidence. I need to make sure I'm scouring all of the evidence. There must be a detail I'm missing on some of the evidence. I should read every detail on the evidence. There must be some small detail I'm missing on some of the evidence.
There must be some small detail here.
I need to make sure I'm looking at all of the evidence.
I need to look at every single detail there is.
I need to look at every piece of evidence.
I need to look at every single detail there is.
There must be some small detail I'm missing on some of the evidence. I should read every detail on the evidence. I need to make sure I'm scouring all of the evidence.
There must be some small detail here. Good. Now what does the rest of it mean?
There must be a detail I'm missing on some of the evidence. I need to make sure I'm looking at all of the evidence. There must be a detail I'm missing on some of the evidence.
I need to look at every single detail there is.
I need to look at every piece of evidence. I need to make sure I'm scouring all of the evidence.
There must be some small detail here.
There must be some small detail I'm missing on some of the evidence. So, Harold lied to me about his alibi. There was no way he could have been listening to Kings of the Nile on his broken radio. The stolen cars are worrying indeed, but don't seem to be related to Charlotte May. The chloroform-like chemical I found is my only real lead. He must have hidden those bottles for a reason. Ultimately, this is all conjecture. I can't prove he's taken Charlotte May.
Dad? Why's the door locked? Can you let me in, please? I want to talk to you about something. Why was the bolt on?
Well, what with everything, one can't be too careful.
Fair enough.
What did you want to talk about?
I've just come back from having a very interesting conversation with your landlord.
Harold Levy, really?
What do you suppose he wanted to talk to me about?
Well, actually, Catherine, I wanted to talk to you about that.
So he was telling the truth. You know, he was so close to pressing charges, and it's not my job to talk him out of it. I could have been arresting you right now, or any one of my colleagues, whom I can assure you would not be as nice as me about it.
Why? He seemed fine after I spoke to him.
You trespassed and damaged his property, and don't try to talk your way out of it.
Well, what do you want me to say?
I don't know, to be honest.
Why do you think he didn't press charges?
The reason he didn't want the police searching in the first place was because he was hiding what basically amounts to chloroform. The same thing he used to drug Charlotte May. He had a gallon of the stuff.
I know.
Well, so why don't you arrest him?
It's a completely different brand.
Well, have you checked his orders? He might have switched recently.
I have.
Then why does he have chloroform in the first place?
He uses it to dilute oils. It's a side scam to rip off his customers. You would have known that if you were working on the case, but you're not.
Well, diluting goods is illegal too, surely. Arrest him for that, and you can interrogate him.
And all he'd get is a fine. And that would be the end of it.
I'm sorry, but...
You're not an investigator anymore, Dad. I know you want to help, but trust me, you're not. In fact, you're making my job that much harder.
Catherine, I was merely trying...
You made me a promise. From now on, I just want you to honor it.
I can't.
Why not?
I promised Tony Morgan that I would help find Charlotte May.
Of course you did.